work. Well, Australia's oldest ASX-listed company, AACo, or the Australian Agricultural Company, turns 200 this year. It's an astonishing legacy for a company that's also one of our biggest cattle producers and processors. But agriculture faces similar ongoing challenges to many other businesses: rising costs, competitiveness and government intervention. Well, Ed Boyd caught up with its Chief Executive, David Harris, and asked him about those challenges.
Yeah, look, I think most people that have something to do with agriculture or the beef sector in general will know that live cattle prices certainly took a very tough turn this year, down up to 40% at certain times of the year. And then more broadly, the beef market across the world has had its challenges. North America has been in a herd liquidation. We've seen South Korea also with really high supplies of beef, of their local beef, the Hanwoo. And so either on a domestic front or an international export front, there has certainly been a lot of supply and prices have been tough over the last 12 months.
Yeah, I note meat sales up 10%. So you do talk about those foreign markets, but where are the best markets for Aussie beef around the world?
It's a good question, and that probably changes by the day, frankly. And that's one of the things we talk about in our strategies, being able to go different parts of the world at different times of the year, because whether it be summer, winter, or different economic conditions in each one of those countries, that plays out. So for us this year, we've continued to push into Asia. We mentioned in this morning's presentation some new markets of Thailand and Indonesia and places like that. We'll keep moving it around. UAE has been a great market, and we'll keep focusing on the foundational markets for us, which is North America and South Korea. So whilst they've had their challenges over the past 12 months, we still see them as really good markets in the long term.
And just give us a sense of the size of your cattle herd at the moment and the value of the herd and some of the big properties you operate. Yeah,
sure. So AACo runs about 455,000 head of cattle as we speak now. We're 6.4 million hectares across Queensland and the Northern Territory. So we're blessed with very good assets for running beef cattle, and so that's the high level of what it is. Largely a composite and Wagyu herd that we bring forward and through into the branded beef side of things that we're really proud to talk to everyone about today with our brands Westholme, Darling Downs, and now 1824.
Yeah, I know your company, you turned 200 this year. Just talk to us a little bit about the relaunch of that brand 1824. What sort of separates it from the other two major brands that you've got?
Yeah, sure. So 1824 is probably going to come in at the lower marbling segment. Still a wonderful Wagyu product, but more for the everyday eater and more casual dining. Slightly lower price point, but it's for us to continue to opportunistically use every part of the animals that we process and put through our supply chain. And so we are really excited to launch 1824 on our 200th birthday. Certainly a very humbling experience for me to be leading a company with the rich history that AACo has and the wonderful stories that we hear throughout the time. And ways for other people to share in that 200 years this year. We've got some wonderful events and had some wonderful events. So a magic time to be the leader of such an excellent business.
Looking at your major shareholders, you've got Aussie billionaire Andrew Forrest with just under 20% and British billionaire Joe Lewis with about 52%. And we know he pleaded guilty to insider trading earlier this year. Are you worried at all about his stake in the company potentially changing?
No, look, I focus on the things within my control, and that's running the business. And certainly, it's business as usual for us. We've got a wonderful opportunity to keep, making this business better with wonderful assets. So, yeah, I control the controllables in this one, and that's certainly not one of them.
We know the transition to net zero has become a really big thing over the past few years. Just explain to us what you guys have been doing in that space with, such a large cattle herd.
Yeah, look, we've been, a really big part of our business over the last 4 or 5 years has been really understanding our impact on nature and the properties that we operate in. Like I said in this morning's presentation, we've just finished a full understanding of our scope 1, 2 and now 3 emissions throughout our whole supply chain, and making some significant investments there from a zero net emissions ag CRC. That's a wonderful opportunity for us to continue supporting industry, as well as doing the work within house. But lots of things there from a sustainability perspective. I think the beef cattle and the business that we run can have a really positive impact on nature, and we'll look to continue that work and helping industry and government and all stakeholders understand the genuine positive impact that we can have on these things.
You also commenced a strategic review. Just explain what exactly that's looking at.
Yeah, sure. So that's just prudent business management that we work through and make sure that we're taking advantage of all the opportunities that are out there. So we'll look across the whole portfolio to understand we've made some really good progress in our existing branded beef strategy, and I think that's really starting to show out in such a difficult year like this. We've seen what we consider a strong result in the context of the market conditions. And so on that really strong foundation, how do we look broader throughout the business? What are the other opportunities for us to bring in new revenue streams using our assets or skills within the business to deliver more value for the business?
Yeah, and how do you assess the way Australia's economy is tracking right now, and also consumer spending? We know consumers are tightening up. Is that affecting AACo, or is your product in a different sort of category to the sort of lower ranked consumers out there?
Yeah, sure. I think, look, largely the majority of our super high quality branded beef does play out slightly differently to the kind of general economy. But I think in general, we're like everyone else. We've got increased input costs and some inflationary pressures there. So we've got to, do what all good businesses do and manage those input costs, manage our efficiencies. I'll leave the real assessment of the kind of financial impact of kind of the general economy to someone else. But from an AA perspective, just keep focusing on the things that we can control, whilst noting that, we've got the same challenges that most businesses do right now.
AACo Chief Executive David Harris, thanks for your time today.
Not a problem. Thank you.